Wow, okay, I'm gonna start because my timer has started. So if you've come to hear me, please sit down and let's start. Yeah? I'm gonna give everyone another 20 seconds. Hello! Hi! I need for us to make a collective effort to have your focus on me because there's tons of movement still happening. Hello everyone, my name is Omer Benjakob and I am a reporter for Haaretz. If people are still moving, I'm gonna give people a chance to settle down. I'll do my intro again. Okay, hi everyone, my name is Omer Benjakob. I'm an investigative journalist for Haaretz. Haaretz is Israel's last remaining legit newspaper. I'm not going to talk too much about Haaretz today. I'm going to talk about my latest, or the last big collaborative investigation we did, which is called Story Killers. If you're interested, I also cover cyber. I also write about Wikipedia, and I also do podcasts, but that's for another conversation. This project I'm going to talk to you about, I like to call it DaaS. DaaS is a term that I made up. It doesn't mean anything, but you're going to help me make it into a thing. No, I can't hear. Listen, there's tons of noise. It's very hard to kind of like do the talk right now. And I'm getting signs from the audience that people can't really hear me. Okay. So the investigation we're going to talk today about, I call it an investigation into DaaS. DaaS is a term that I made up, and it's a joke or a reference to a high-tech term called SaaS. SaaS is software as a service, and this is an investigation into disinformation as a service. We were brought together by an amazing NGO called Forbidden Stories. Forbidden Stories is a Paris-based NGO that follows up on the work of journalists that were killed or prosecuted for their work. We're a team, this is an undercover investigation that involved almost 100 reporters in all, but our core team that did this investigation is me. You can see me here as undercover with my hidden camera, Frédéric Métézeau from Radio France, and Gur Megiddo, who works with me at Haaretz and the Haaretz's sister publication. And Forbidden Stories brought us all together to follow up on the work of the Pegasus project that you might have heard about. So Project Pegasus, or the Pegasus project, was an investigation into NSO and misuse of spyware. And what we discovered is that spyware itself is used to target individuals, but it's actually sold as a technology. What does that mean? So let's compare Pegasus today to a gun. There's a difference between selling guns and being hitmen, right? So NSO sells weapons. They sell digital weapons, but they don't fully or necessarily actually utilize it for their clients. The second thing we discovered is that there is a lot of disinformation that seems to be linked to cyber. So the stuff being taken from people's phones is actually then being used to be pushed out online. But there's this almost lacuna. You can think of this as kind of a lacuna between the world of cyber and the world of disinformation. And we know that there are disinformation as a service. You might have heard of a company called Black Cube. They're just the most famous company in this space. There's tons of companies that do this. It's de facto intelligence operations for hire. Black Cube was famous because they got involved in the Harvey Weinstein case, which shows you who are the people who actually need disinformation services. I, for example, have never needed disinformation as a service. I guess that says something about me. There's a correlation between the people who buy these services and being a horrible human being. And what's interesting about Black Cube is that Black Cube actually were this one-stop shop. Intel for hire, hacking for hire, social disinformation, political campaigns, business intelligence, even actual hacking and social engineering. These are all things that kind of in the early days of these industries were still being offered as services, not as tech, right? We're not selling the gun. We're doing this as a service for somebody. But over the last few years, this kind of industry has fallen apart, or not fallen apart, but fragmented. And now each one of these different things is sold independently. The mission was penetrate the world of disinformation dealers, find the bot dealers, the troll farms, and dox the agents of chaos. You are all really intelligent people, and you have probably not read anything interesting about disinformation since 2018. The reason for that is that Facebook and Twitter control the ability to actually do research on disinformation, and therefore we are still thinking like Trump. We're thinking about stupid bots doing retweets. We have a very superficial understanding of disinformation as a market. We think it's bots pushing out really easily debunkable stories and creating the sense that Trump is really popular. And more importantly, we think states do it. We think only governments do this. But we also know, we as reporters who operate in this cyberspace or world of cyber arms, that this is a thing. When we came out with Project Pegasus, all of my sources told me the same thing. Like, why are you bothering these arms dealers? They're just arms dealers. Go to the service providers. Go to the people who help weaponize information hacked from phones for political campaigns. And this was our mission. We met in Paris the same way we met for Project Pegasus. And my friend Gur Megiddo, who is one of the best journalists alive today, had a crazy idea. He said, let's pretend to represent a government in Africa and try to convince people to postpone the election for no reason. And the Israeli disinformation industry said, hold my beer. I won't explain to you how we did it because I don't have time, but we started a rumor from our clients, from our sources, that there was in Israel a group of businessmen, one American, one French, one Israeli. They represent a businessman who has close ties to a French-speaking African country. We never said Chad, but the reference was Chad. And we want to postpone the elections. Why? No reason whatsoever besides the fact that we don't want the elections to happen in September. Chad had elections planned for that year. And we started this rumor, and through what we call a chain of mediators that for security reasons I can't detail, we managed to reach some people who actually do this as a service. This is the actual brochure they sent us. So they do, we know how to deal and run information and influence campaign. Our core team of members are graduates of government agencies and so on. And then after some dialogue, we actually we meet some guy and he says, listen, is your client currently on duty? Is he in opposition? What is the language of your country? And then over time, we managed to kind of have more and more and more meetings until finally they tell us, you know who you need? You need Jorge. And we go, who is Jorge? Let me introduce you to Jorge.
I know in some countries, they believe Telegram is very safe. Eh?
We're going to do that again.
They do. You know Telegram.
Can we raise the volume on my video?
I know in some countries, they believe Telegram is very safe. Eh? You know?
They do.
You know Telegram. So here, I'll show you how safe it is. Can you see this Telegram now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jorge, during our first Zoom call with him, said, you know, a lot of people think Telegram is really safe. Let me show you how safe Telegram is. And he shows us the live Telegram account of someone who, within 4 days, we will realize is the chief of staff for the presidential contender of Kenya. And Jorge is showing us the inside of his Telegram account while the elections in Kenya are happening. And he also explains to us that it's not just that he's passively seeing the Telegram account. He can do what he calls active intelligence. He can send messages. And he explains to us how he sends messages and then deletes them to create chaos in the opposition camp. Fun fact, this number 11 right here, he sends as a demo just for us, and then he hits delete. But do you know how you can delete only for yourself or for both sides? He made a mistake and he deleted only for himself. In 4 months, a reporter from a newspaper, I cannot say which one, goes to Kenya, finds this device and confirms this hack by seeing the actual message that was sent in his name. This is our first meeting with Jorge. Let's see what happens in the next one. Jorge continues to explain to us that he has an entire infrastructure of not bots, Bots, if you learn one thing from my lecture, it's that the word bots means nothing. You're all going to promise me now you never use the word bot again. You use the word avatar. Avatar is a complex digital being that I like to say is much realer than my mother. Because to be a real person in the digital age is not to be physically real, it is to have an SMS verified WhatsApp and a Gmail account. And my mother only has WhatsApp. Jorge has an army of bots, of avatars, forgive me. And not only does he have an army of avatars, he has a system, a DaaS, disinformation as a software, a program for overseeing them. Let's learn about his bots. So as you can see, usually women, this is a real thing, it's usually female avatars tend to be female. And as you can notice, they have presence across social media. So each one of Jorge's avatars is present on Snapchat and Google and Amazon and Reddit. They have numerous accounts. They're not active just on one platform. They look real. As I remind you, they are objectively realer than my mother. Let's learn about AIMS. AIMS is the first time we've ever seen a disinformation software.
So this is our platform that we develop for online impact. At the moment, we have working 31,726,000 profiles working on our system.
So they have 30,000 fake profiles. Let's see how you create a fake person in the digital age, because this is what Jorge's campaigns do. They allow us to use existing avatars, but also create new ones.
Let's make one candidate together. Let's take one, I don't know, United Kingdom, female. Let's do a search. Isla Sawyer, let's say I don't like the name, it's not, Sophie Wilde, I like the name, British. I connected to one group, European mix, yeah? Maybe I want to say from what city this lady is from Leeds, no, she's from London, yeah? And I do next. Already she has email, date of birth, everything.
He's created a new person, now he's going to look for her photo. And all of these avatars belong to different groups. Ethnicity or theme. Notice we also have crypto NFT. This is a really important point. You all think Trump. It's not Trump. This is a private industry. The same techniques developed to put Trump in the White House are now sold on the private market. And if you're if you're like a crypto person, you can buy these services. You can use the same services used to put Trump in the White House to also push out crypto coins, which I think is amazing. Brazil, Indonesia, Armenia, you get a vibe of where they were. Jorge claims that he was involved in 31 presidential elections, 27 of them successfully.
We have Arab.
The way this works, if you're interested, I won't go too deep in this, but they're actually SMS verified. So he creates a Gmail, he creates a WhatsApp, they're linked to each other, and then they layer on identities on this. So the Amazon account is registered to the Gmail. The Gmail is registered to the phone number is local, everything is local. And they have, in that sense, they've actually hacked social media's verification process. So Google checks your identity by either phone number or email. And if you can create those, you can de facto create a real person. So, and they actually have an entire system for automatically registering. Look how many different accounts. Amazon, Alibaba, some of his avatars have Airbnb accounts. Why? Because it makes them more real.
She can open.
He also explains that we can use these avatars to push out any campaign or any fake news we want. He shows me how he timed the campaign. I won't play the video because it's too much. But we decided after like 5-6 meetings with him that this was complete BS. This made zero sense. None of us, all of us are pretty experienced reporters. None of us had seen anything like this. We were sure he was lying. So we decided to test him. And we had the very fun mission of to come up with a fake news campaign with no victims. Being Israeli journalists, we had initially suggested targeting ourselves, like we wanted them to target us. Our lawyers thought we were insane, so that didn't work. We went to a very famous journalist who was involved in the project, and we suggested sacrificing him. He's a German, so he looked at us like we're crazy and said, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And then Gur, who, as I've explained, is the most talented journalist in the world today, said, you know, my daughter is really into this emu. It's some viral animal. Let's start a rumor that this viral animal has passed away. And there we can check if Jorge's avatars are real. And what actually happened is that we invented a hashtag called Rest in Peace Emmanuel. And within 4 days, this hashtag had gone viral. It was a top trending topic in Slovenia. And there was about 5,000-6,000 tweets saying how sad that this emu had died and so on and so forth. But then something amazing happened. The actual influencer who oversees, who's like in charge of Emmanuel, tweeted, who started this terrible rumor? Emmanuel didn't die. And then the story actually went viral. So this is what you call the Streisand effect. You know, when you deny something, it makes it even more popular online. Using this fake news campaign, this demo campaign, we found close to 20 real campaigns that Jorge's avatars were involved in. So he was using the same Twitter accounts to give the demo for us, but also this campaign against a yacht company. All told, we found 20 different campaigns, not all of them political. There was even a campaign against the governor of California about some nuclear power plant that seemed to have pressured him to renew the license of a nuclear plant that no one wanted renewed in Diablo Canyon. Thomas Zeron, anyone from Mexico, was involved in arms deals and is currently hiding in Israel. So there was a campaign trying to exonerate him. Crypto coins, Peter Nygaard, Tommy Robinson. So we found tons and tons of campaigns just by this avatar trick. This is the back end of a system that he has called Blogger that creates thousands of fake links for the same story. So if someone tries to take one of the links down, the story stays on. This is the confirmed hack. We managed to actually, as you can see, so this is the actual message you can see before, but from the other side. All told, we confirmed 9 hacking victims: Tanzania, Indonesia, Mozambique. And Jorge, as I like to say, is a philosopher. He's a philosopher of fake news. And at some point, he gives me this amazing quote. He says, you know, what is fake news? Fake news is when people believe. It's not because something is reality or not reality. The question is credibility. And after you've created credibility, then you can manipulate. This is the toolbox for fake news today. These are the services provided by these companies. This trick worked so well, we did it to 2 other companies. So we know this is actually an industry. I won't have time to go into them. But there's one big question that's missing. Who's Jorge? Who's Jorge? Thanks to our good friends in The Guardian, we managed to uncover who Jorge is. We had a name, an Israeli guy called Tal Hanan, his brother Zohar Hanan, and another guy. And we set up a meeting. We tried to lure them to come to Paris. That didn't work. We tried to lure them to come to Tel Aviv. That didn't work. I lied and told them that I was in Israel on business. And we ended up having an undercover meeting. This is me undercover. I was the first guy to meet Jorge physically. After an hour, Gur entered. The moment we had the photo, we managed to finally confirm the identity and confirm the information that The Guardian had. The Guardian had a very interesting email from the Cambridge Analytica leak, where the president of Cambridge Analytica asks Brittany Kaiser, the whistleblower from the whistleblower from, quote-unquote whistleblower, from Cambridge Analytica, he asks her, hey, what is the name of those Israeli hackers that we work with in Kenya? And she goes, who, Jorge? Jorge? It's Tal Hanan. It's an Israeli from Modi'in. And this whole thing brought it full circle. I'm going to end on a depressing point. Last time I met him, so we met over the span of 6 months. Last time I met him, he updated us to tell us that the software was updated now, and we no longer needed to pay someone to write fake news because there's now ChatGPT integration. And you can create 10 posts that are either positive or negative that the Twitter advertiser will then push out. Meet Team Jorge, Jorge, Nick, and Max. Actually, Tal Hanan, Zohar Hanan, and Mashi. For those of you interested in Israeli politics, you'd all love to know that these people also protest in favor of Israeli democracy. So though they sell disinformation and anti-democratic services abroad, when they're in Israel, they're quite sensitive about democracy. And this is actually one of them at a protest. So we actually saw them at a protest with a sign that says democracy now or something like this. There's another company, but I won't have time to go into them. The big takeaway for me is that we have to change our thinking about disinformation. We have to stop letting social media dictate the way we think about this stuff. As reporters and as journalists, we have to think about it from the kind of endpoint, what we know exists, and then figure out how we prove it. If this is not clear, then collaborations, global collaborations are the future of journalism. It's the only chance we all have. This project would have been impossible without Forbidden Stories. It would have been impossible to do without us collaborating. It would have been possible to corroborate all these facts without having 30, 40 partners across the world. That is the future. And at a personal note, as a reporter, I wanted to be a philosophy professor, and somehow I managed to go undercover. If you try, you might succeed. So I encourage everyone to try. Thank you very, very much.